And right now on the Steel Report, my two guests are here to talk about some great things coming up here in the very near future for the always famous Waterloo-Cedar Falls Symphony Orchestra. My guests include Jordan Bancroft. Jordan is the Executive Director of the Waterloo-Cedar Falls Symphony Orchestra. Welcome back to the program today, Jordan. And also welcome Jim Miller. Jim, of course, is a Hall of Fame musician himself and well known in this area as an entertainer, but he's also with the Waterloo-Cedar Falls Symphony Orchestra as the Development Director for Sponsorship and Advertising. And Jim, thanks again for helping me out recently on the show with our friend Carter Guzzi. He's such an incredible talent, and guys, that was one of my fun shows of all time to do that with you and Carter here a few months ago. That was really
Carter says hi to everyone from Nashville.
From Nashville, that's right. He's having a great time down there in the songwriting program. But today we're here to talk about what's happening with some upcoming concerts for Maestro Jason Weinberger and his absolutely fantastic musicians in the Waterloo-Cedar Falls Symphony. Jordan, what's happening and how soon can we expect a big concert?
Yeah, so when Jason and I were working on putting together this season, we really wanted to focus on connecting each concert to our community and making it meaningful to our community. Mm-hmm. And so we started the season pretty strongly. Our first concert, we played Bartók's Concerto for Orchestra, which treats every musician in the orchestra as a soloist. We moved next to our Veterans Day concert, where we featured the voices of John Zolson, Chiquita Loveless, and Hovey Brahm as they told their stories. Mm-hmm. Then we moved to bringing back our very own Broadway star, Joel Wagner, from Waterloo to perform with us New Year's Eve. So we're continuing that trend. Mm-hmm. For our next concert on March 2nd, we're bringing the OK Factor. It's a alt-classical pops group from Minneapolis, but Olivia, the O in OK, grew up here in Cedar Falls, grew up playing cello with me and Jason and the Northern Iowa Youth Orchestra. So we're really excited to bring them back. We've helped them out by commissioning arrangements of a chamber orchestra to back them. So we'll be performing in the historic Brown Derby Ballroom right here in downtown Waterloo. It's an intimate environment. You'll be really close to the musicians. You'll have an experience unlike any other place that we play. Plus, we've teamed up with Gallagher Bluedorn to do a series of candlelight concerts. So this will be decking out the ballroom with LED candles that flicker like they're real. And so it'll have a nice, intimate environment that'll be really cool. So we've got two concerts, one at 4 p.m., one at 7:30 p.m. The 4 p.m. is almost sold out, and that's March 2nd. Then we have our Easter concert on March 30th, and we'll be featuring, pieces that play into the spring renewal theme. But really we wanted to focus on picking a piece that our musicians wanted. And so the musicians on our board picked Tchaikovsky's Symphony No. 6. So this will be a great concert for you to weave into your Easter weekend. You'll have Good Friday on Friday, then you can come to the Symphony on Saturday, then Easter Mass on Sunday. It'll be great for the family. And then we're wrapping up with really kind of the concert that people are probably most excited for. We'll be teaming up with Disney Productions, Disney Films Productions, to produce Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back film and concert, where the symphony performs John Williams' famous score while the film is playing on the big screen in Gallagher Bluedorn. And it'll be a great evening for kids and families. We've got two concerts, April 26th and 27th, both at 7 p.m.
That sounds like a fantastic array of excitement. Jim, your job is to fill those seats, isn't it? As the marketing person and development director. How do you do that, and how difficult is that?
Well, that's our challenge. And as I travel around the community, a number of folks don't know that the Gallagher Bluedorn just recently installed all new seating in the Gallagher. It's beautiful in there, very comfortable. They've made some adjustments, and they have some other things going on in the Gallagher. So yes, those seat 1,600 plus. So that's our challenge, is to get more folks out there and to particularly invite maybe some of the folks from our smaller communities surrounding us and everyone in the Cedar Valley to come to a concert. The concerts are unbelievable this year.
I was going to say, people don't realize the talent, the array of talent, and the people who have longevity with the Waterloo-Cedar Falls Symphony. Remember when we did the Carter Guzzi story, Carol Lockhart came in and actually did some background music for him. And she's a very, very good violinist with the symphony, right?
I was just actually playing down in St. Petersburg, Florida, and was fortunate to go to their symphony orchestra. They have 100 concerts in their hall a year, so they're just almost every other night they're playing. And I couldn't tell too much difference between our professionals playing here. We have just an excellent group of musicians.
So as always, what's the best way to get tickets? You'd like to know ahead of time how many you've sold, because is it better to, what's the best way ahead of time to buy a ticket?
Yeah, so go to www.wcfsymphony.org. You can access the ticket selling platform from our website. All tickets for the upcoming concerts can be found there.
Jim was talking about the huge Gallagher Bluedorn, but the Brown Derby is a little bit different setting. How many people can you fit in there? And like I say, it's going to be, you're going to be much closer to the performers than you would be at Gallagher.
Yeah, so the Brown Derby, like I said, is an intimate setting. We could only fit a maximum of about 200 people, and because of the way we want to develop that intimate atmosphere, what we do is we place the orchestra in the middle of the room, and then we set up the seats around the orchestra. So everybody is really quite close. If you're sitting on the backside of the orchestra, you can actually have a good view of what the musicians see with Jason when he's conducting. If you're sitting on the front side, you get a more traditional view of the orchestra, but there's a little bit of everything for everybody.
That's fantastic. I mean, then, so that'll, Jim, that'll probably sell out quickly. So.
Actually, our 4:30 concert, 4 o'clock concert is close to sold out. There's still some seats left, but there are still some for the evening concert, and folks will want to not miss that one.
So 2 concerts that day.
Two concerts that
That's
day.
fantastic. When you look ahead, in fact, maybe you should answer this first, and you probably know the answer to this too, Jim, but where do the musicians, how do you find them? And there's an audition process, and like I say, some people have been here a long time, some are probably relatively new. Where do they come from?
Most of them come from within an hour radius of this area. We do have an audition process. We have a core of about 35 musicians that sign up to play just about every concert with us. And then we fill in as we need the rest of the orchestra. Sometimes we have to go as far as Minneapolis or Chicago to find some of the more obscure instruments. But otherwise, generally speaking, most of our musicians come from the Cedar Valley. They come from Cedar Rapids. They're coming from Ames, Des Moines, and so they're coming kind of in that area.
And the practice then, how do they all get together? It must be, logistically, it could be a nightmare maybe, but you make it work, right?
Yeah, so we do 1 week of rehearsals. The week leading up to the concert, that's it. So the musicians are given the music 30 days in advance of the concert. They are expected to practice on their own, and then we come together and we put the concerts together the week before.
That's incredible. I mean, that's how talented they are. I remember when I was a freshman in college, I had to do an audition as a trumpet player. Worst day of my life. to try to sight read music. You tell me how to play, and tell me how it goes, I can play it. But sight read, oh my gosh. I'm not going to use that probably, but, but that was a horrible day in my life to try and do an audition.
Ron, these are professionals, however, and a good share of them make their full living at doing this. And not only our rehearsals, but prior to that, for the previous month and a half, they might put in 5, 10, 15 hours playing their parts at home and just rehearsing themselves.
Yeah, and some of them, I know in past years, I don't know if it's still the same, many are music teachers or have been music teachers too at their local schools or universities. Yeah,
definitely.
Jordan, everything's going great, but what about the future? As you look ahead, what do you hope? What's your goal?
Yeah, so as I've been coming into the symphony, I've been here for just over a year now, I've been really thinking about the role of the symphony within our community. And I've been reading a lot about some concerning things, like the Surgeon General put out an advisory last May about the loneliness epidemic and how people are spending less time together. They're spending less time at church. They're spending less time in social clubs like the Rotary or the Masons or whatever, and that has negative health effects on our community. And so I've been really working with our team at the Symphony to talk about how we can position ourselves as being a hub of social interaction and connectivity in order to bring our community together. because once a community is healthy and there are strong social connections, the community really functions better together at solving problems, working together, to build projects and whatnot. So really thinking about how we use the music as the draw, but what are we doing before concerts and after concerts to help build that social interactivity with the symphony.
I was going to say, because at concerts at Gallagher particularly, you usually have someone playing, and Jim, I think you've played in the lobby before, haven't you? Carter did.
Yes.
And so there's a great chance for people to interact with each other, and then after the concerts too, is that something that you think really should continue and will be extremely important to go on what Jordan was just talking about, the loneliness, isolation that we've experienced because of COVID.
Yeah. Definitely, and something else that we've talked about. And I think the Disney concert in April, those two concerts, what a wonderful place for families to come. For our younger kids, everyone loves these Disney films, and the music is unbelievable. And to get to experience all that right here, normally, like Jordan said, you have to go to Minneapolis, Kansas City, somewhere else to experience this. So I'm excited about families that can come together and experience the music.
Jordan, lots of times there are changes in staff at symphonies and any organization. What's going on with your staffing these days?
Yeah, so our most recent update is that we have hired Bethany Brooks. We brought her in to be a development director, but also, so she's helping with the fundraising, but I've also included in her job description a community relations portion. And so, again, focusing on building relationships with our organization, with other organizations, with individuals in this community in order to build that sense of community. And so I'm even embedding this ethos into the job descriptions of our staff as we prepare for the future of the symphony in this community.
Beautiful. So 3 really great opportunities here coming up on March 2nd, March 30th, April 26th and 27th. And Jim, you were talking about, you try to attract an audience that comes from about a 50, 60, 70-mile radius around the Waterloo-Cedar Falls area. How difficult is that, and how are you going about trying to get those people to drive into town and enjoy these amazing concerts?
It becomes more difficult all the time, mainly because everyone in their small communities has their little phones and they're looking at everything in the world to go do, and we're one of those things, but sometimes they forget how close we are. They forget that the Gallagher Bluedorn Performing Arts Center is sitting right there. So yeah, it's very important, and we do invite all the folks from the small communities.
And Jordan, I'll let you make this pitch, because they will not be disappointed, will they?
No, they won't. And one of the things that I should have mentioned earlier is that, I've been talking about these things about building community with Steve Kerrigan, the director of the Gallagher Bluedorn, and you'll see those things embedded into the changes Gallagher Bluedorn are making. So they're expecting to be opened next November. But they're adding social spaces to the hall to help also build community. But we also do some free summer concerts in order to connect with the community. And so one of them is going to be right here in downtown Waterloo. We participate in the Mayor's Fireworks every year. It's a free concert, so come down and see us, and we will be at that concert previewing many of the concerts they'll be doing for next season in the pieces that we choose.
Yeah, that's always a fun one in the summer for sure. Okay, Jordan Bancroft, Jim Miller, Waterloo-Cedar Falls Symphony Orchestra. Say hi to our great friend and really talented maestro, Jason Wenger. Love that guy. We're so lucky to have him. Please stay forever, Jason. Okay. More on the Steel Report coming up here in a moment. Well, that's it for this week's edition of the Steel Report. Again, a big thank you to Linda Bowman and everybody at the Job Foundation for letting us know how this great nonprofit is helping local students better understand finances. And be sure to check out the upcoming schedule for the Waterloo-Cedar Falls Symphony Orchestra. That's it for this week. Thanks for watching.